Hello everyone. Today I wanted to play around with a very cool piece of software which is called Vcv Rack. So what Vcv Rack is a virtual modular synth. It is a free piece of software. You can download it for free, and I played with it a few years ago when it was only the standalone version, and it's a very cool thing, but it didn't really integrate with my DAW. So I sort of pushed it to the side, but recently, as of version 2, you get a plugin that you can use in your DAW, and that is actually the paid version. So I got the paid version. I think it's €100. It's definitely worth it, because the cool thing about VCV is that it is an open platform for developers to add their own modules as plugins, so to speak. So let's just get started and have a look at this. By the way, I did a video not so long ago where I was talking about selling synths and stuff, and actually I also sold my real life modular. Now I'm talking about modular synths again. This actually is in software, and okay, it's not completely free, but I think €100 or $100 is a very good deal. And it is a lot of fun to play with these things. So in that same video, I talked about, what about the hardware synth, what does it need to do to earn a place in my collection? And it has to be either very much fun to use or do something unique. I think the same goes for software. I try not to go all out on buying all kinds of software. This one is actually worth it because it sounds great and it's extremely flexible. You can do a lot with it. So let's just get started. I'm gonna make a synth patch, and I'm gonna show you how I use this in Ableton Live. Which has some advantages. You can use it standalone. Like I said, but yeah, this is a lot of fun. So let's just get started and do what you can do with modular, which is make your own synth patch or drum patch or anything really. So if I just right click on a free space, you get all these modules here. All of these are free. There are some that come with the program. There's others you can download very easily. These are all clones of Mutable Instruments modules. These are clones of Befaco, which are two pretty well-known brands. Actually, I paid for 2 upgrades when I bought the paid version of VCV, and that is the Soundstage Reverb, which was, I think, normally €30, and now it was cheaper. And the drum modules, which are fun. I'm not so convinced about the Soundstage Reverb actually, but those were relatively cheap plugins, so to speak. And all the other stuff I have here is free, basically. So let's just get started. So for instance, this one, the macro oscillator, is actually Mutable Instruments module called Plats, and the mutable instruments, the digital code of these modules is actually open source, so other people can use it. And this is a very interesting digital oscillator that produces a lot of sounds. Okay, so when we're building a synth, we need an oscillator. We need a filter, or we don't strictly need it, but yeah, the typical subtractive synth has a filter. So what you can do here, you can sort or search by tags and then filter, and these are all the filters I've downloaded. This is the standard one in Vcv Rack. And what more? Well, we need an amplifier, so we go to voltage controlled amplifier. This is the standard one. And we need some envelopes. Again, very easy to do this. Envelope generator. This one, I want 2 of those. Control D or Command D on the Mac creates a second one. You can select them and move them around like this. And then let's get a sequencer. Now you can sequence everything from in the DAW. I'll show that in a bit. This is a nice sequencer, also free. You can just get from this MIDI to CV module, you can get the MIDI from the DAW, basically from the MIDI channel. I have the plugin on here, but strictly speaking, we don't need that. What you can also do is get an LFO, so tag low frequency oscillator. This is the basic one in Vcv Rack. Get a square wave and use that as a gate input for the ADSRs, for the envelopes. Let's just patch this up quickly to show you how this works. One envelope would control the cutoff of the filter in a typical, let's say, mini-moog style subtractive synth. The other one would control the amplifier. So these are going to the CV inputs. You can actually see this working already. The tempo of the LFO will decide how fast the envelopes are triggered. This goes to the output, which goes to the DAW, basically just to the MIDI channel. And now we need sound, so the output of the oscillator, put it in the filter and put the low pass in the output in the amp. And now we have a basic sound going here. Now, because this LFO only gives off pulses, short pulses, it's mostly the release of the ADSRs which decides the decay, basically. You're not giving it notes of a certain longer length. The pulses are very short. Anyway, and actually we can do this without the amplifier, but with just the filter cutoff, like this. Increase the cutoff modulation here. And now you get the filter opening and closing. Basically also functioning as the VCA. Actually, for more control, it's nice to have this as well. And already, I mean, this is just a single oscillator, but I think this sounds pretty good. So the Platts macro oscillator has a lot of different sounds and way to manipulate them. Frequency, of course. Double clicking returns it to the default position, by the way. Harmonics. In this case, it actually adds a second note, I guess. Timbre changes sort of the, it sounds like a little bit like filtering. And then morph. And I think these different parameters mean different things for all these different sound types of sounds that we have here. So if you cycle through these buttons, the turquoise ones on the left are pitch models, and then on the right are noise percussive models. Although this also sounds kind of percussive. This sounds cool, very fat. And if you go to the manual of the Platts oscillator, you'll be able to read what these actually are. These are the percussive ones. There's some noisy stuff. I think there's a kick drum in there as well. This sounds very FM-y. I think I'm gonna come back to that one. This is the kick drum. It's actually a pretty good kick drum. Let's see. Very interesting stuff here. go with this. But of course, this is a very boring sequence. We're just hearing the same note over and over again. So what I will do is disconnect these. We're not going to use the LFO. I'm going to use some MIDI notes. Just gonna quickly make a clip in the MIDI track here on live to send to sync it basically to the clock. Clumsy here. The clock frequency of, well, whatever tempo we choose in the DAW. One important thing is make these notes shorter so they don't connect, so they're individual pulses, and then they will drive the gate. They will basically, the notes, the velocity, the pitch, and the length of the gate, basically they will go to this module, and from there you can use the pitch that would be volt per octave to pitch the oscillators, but we're going to use the sequencer for that. And the gate here, external clock 8. And now, if I'm not mistaken, I'll press play here, and this should be cycling through. So we have 3 rows of CV and gate in this sequencer. So the gate would be sort of like triggers, an on-off signal that we can use to drive the envelopes, and you can put multiple cables on one. We get the same thing here, and then the CV would be for the pitch. So volt per octave or FM, both would manipulate the pitch. And one nice thing you can do with this is you can randomize the knobs. And now you can hear there are different pitches going on. Let's see, let's increase the release here. Let's increase the tempo. This is about techno, as you know. So, interesting little random sequence here. Now there's more you can do with this. I love to randomize this stuff because I'm too lazy to turn the knobs myself. One thing that is useful here though is getting a quantizer. So the quantizer will ensure that you only play actual notes from a scale. So we do that by putting the CV output in the quantizer and then putting that back into the input of the oscillator. And you can see it's sort of rounding off the signal from the CV into different individual notes. And there's things you can do with this. You can offset it, make it higher or lower. For instance, I think I like this. And there's another trick here, using an attenuator. So I'll go for this one. Also free, so by Befaco, which is a pretty well-known brand of modular modules, Euro Rack modules, real ones. I had their mixer when I still had a physical real-life modular. This is also free. It's absolutely awesome. So let's put the CV from the sequencer into this, the attenuator. I'm doing it wrong. Then the output into here, and then into this one. Yeah. And now the different notes are gone. Why? Because basically the signal is set to 0. Now it's set to 1, and it's identical to when I patched this in before I pen. And again, you have the offset here. Add or subtract voltage, basically making the pitch higher or lower. And with this, so we can now narrow the range of the notes. As you can can see here, it goes up and down, the different notes. I can make it smaller, more monotonous, less difference between the notes. And basically if I put it at 0, it's just one note. So that's very useful little addition here for the sequencer. Finally then, synths, they tend to have LFOs, right? So let's put an LFO in here. Again, low frequency oscillator. Get the basic one from Vcv themselves. And let's say we take the triangle wave and we use that to modulate something. Let's say something of the oscillator here. Oftentimes you would use this to modulate the filter. I'm just going to turn this down. And what you could actually do, you could mix together the signal from the filter envelope here and the oscillator, and then put the output of that mix into the filter cutoff. Let's just quickly do that. So let's get a mixer. Again, with the tags here, very easy to find. Mixer, let's use the basic one, which actually has VCAs built into them, but I'm not going to use them now. Okay, so 2 inputs here, 1 input and 1 input, so one from the envelope. I'm doing this right. Yeah. And now we're gonna put the output into the cutoff. And as you can see, it sounds different. So if I get rid of the LFO, it's like it was before. But now if I mix in this LFO, it starts to modulate the filter as well. Pretty cool, right? So I can make it quicker. Sort of a vibrato. I can go for a really slow sweep. More subtle. Or, at the same time, we can use this same LFO. The triangle or the sine, doesn't matter, or the square, or the sol, and modulate. Let's see. To go crazy, model. Now basically the LFO is controlling the model here, the selected thing. So if we make this fast, maybe a little bit too weird. Let's put it on the timbre, and we have this dial here that controls how much modulation of the timbre we have. Let's keep this in the center position. This is more of a subtle effect. Or let's see if we can modulate the morph, what that does. Definitely adds something to this, right? So that's a basic synth patch setup, one oscillator synth. Finally, another cool thing we have in here is effects. Let's get a delay effect. So I have a few of these. I downloaded. This one is actually a nice one. Let's just send the output of the synth through the delay, and let's see. The only problem with this is that they're a bit cryptic, the markings on the panel, but I think this should work. Yeah. And then there was a mix dial somewhere. Dry, wet. This is dry. This is wet. I think this is for the time. Yeah. has a left and right delay time, or I can use those. You get a stereo image here. There's different modes to this. This is the ping pong one. Feedback amount. Can we sync this? Yeah, we can sync this, so we can go from the sync input, get that from the gauge here. Let's see. I'm not sure if we're getting the stereo effect here. I think, yeah, one input is enough. Okay, so by now you're probably very tired of this sequence. But yeah, just to show what you can do with this. It's modular, so the possibilities are endless. And this is a lot of fun. And then finally you can save a patch. And where do I keep it? Vcv patches. And there you have it. Now you can recall it for another time. And actually, I can keep working on this because it's synced with the host. I can just go and look for a kick drum. These are extremely loud. Sorry. Now it's very quiet. Let's see. Decent kick. Basic kick here. And basically the start of a techno track. And from here on, there's some more stuff I can do. This is one synth, but I can, one voice basically, but I can make more voices. In the same patch, I can actually add drums in this patch or a bass. I can send multiple outputs. I have a dual output here, but there is another module which has 16 outs, 8 stereo pairs. You can send them all to different audio channels in your DAW, and then separately apply plugins and mix them. Or you can mix everything internally here with a mixer and have a stereo output. Create a patch that you can use for jamming, record the jams. You can also record automation. Very simply here, for instance, the VCF, control it from in here. And record automation. So endless possibilities, really, very creative possibilities, because you can patch everything into everything. It's pretty stable. I've had some modules cause this to freeze up, but for the most part it works fine. Not sure if I would do a live performance with this, because if it freezes up, then you have a big problem. But like I said in the previous video, when it comes to live performance, I'm focusing on DJing right now. For creative purposes and and for the sort of the area where live performance and production blend together, though, this is a great piece of software. Definitely check out the free version. Consider getting the paid one if you want to use it as a plugin in your DAW. I'm not getting anything for quote unquote promoting this. I'm just very enthusiastic about this, so I thought I'd share it with you. And that's all I have for today. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm still giving away some free samples, and I'm actually thinking of giving away some VCV patches that you can work with for free in the future. But until then, check this channel out. See you on the next one. Bye bye.